Today I'm going to try to predict Metacritic scores for upcoming games in February 2026. This is a monthly video series that I do, so if you're interested in that kind of thing, follow along for more. Two things to establish off the top as always. Number one, I understand that Metacritic is not the all-in be-all of game scores. It's not that serious. We just do this for fun. And number two, if I forget anything, which is very, very possible, just make sure to drop it down in the comments below. Let me know, and I'll predict my score in the comments below for that game. Here's how I did for last month for anyone keeping track. It was honestly not a terrible month. I gotta say, I'm pretty pumped up about the Code Violet one, especially when the score came in and it came in at a 40. Boy, I was pretty pumped. It has dropped since then. It's even dropped even lower, where I think it's like a 26 or something like that. But overall, not a bad month. Couple misses. I'm pretty pumped about the Code Violet one. So overall, that alone, I'm calling it a dub. I'm calling January a dub for Code Violet alone. Shout out. Do all the normal things content creators say to do, and let's jump into the video. Kicking things off on February 1st, I think, Starsand Island. It says it's February 1st, but like, I don't know if it's actually coming out February 1st or not. I have no idea. I think it is. This is like, a life sim island farm crafting type game, like a My Time or whatever. I'm going to say 74 on this one. It looks good. I think it looks good as someone who's new to the genre, but I acknowledge that these don't always score super, super high. But hey, shout out to this game for also having an official collab with My Time at Porsche specifically with, I think it's Ginger and Gust, I think are going to be, or Gale or whoever is going to be additional characters in this game. So that's pretty cool. But I'm going to call it 74. I don't think it's going to score super high, but hopefully it scores well. I don't know. I don't even know if it's coming out, if I'm going to be honest. February 5th, we have Dragon Quest VII, a Reimagined. I'm going to say an 80 on this one. The Dragon Quest remake games and remaster games have scored overall pretty well here recently with the 1, 2, and the 3. So I'm going to say that this one's going to probably continue to do the same thing and just score really well, where there's going to be a nice little pickup for people that are Dragon Quest fans. Shout out. February 6th, we have My Hero Academia All's Justice. I'm going to say 65. These games don't score well. They don't score well for a reason. They're just kind of quickly thrown together, and they're thrown out into the wild for the My Hero fans to pick up and potentially play. So 65. Also on the 6th, we have Nioh 3. I'm going to say 85 here. The Nioh games, the 1 and 2, I think there's like a remaster or something. All of those tend to score pretty well in that same kind of range. And I think 85 would actually be the new highest score for this property. I could be wrong. So I'm going to say 85, and hopefully they're going to hit a new high. That'd be cool. On February 10th, we have Crisol Theater of Idols. I'm going to say 79 here. This is a Blumhouse-produced game where it is a first-person action horror game. Like the actual gameplay feels kind of BioShock-ish in a way. Like it gives off that kind of vibe. The most unique thing to me that I really enjoy is like the element of things of where your blood is your ammunition and your lifeline throughout the game. I think that's really cool. The whole premise behind it is like, it's all based on like folklore and like religion are basically like intertwined here in like a nightmare version of Spain or something like that of that capacity. So like the setting is really cool and unique. The element with the blood being your ammunition, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Honestly, I hope this game scores really well. It looks really cool, and honestly, it does actually look pretty creepy. So I do hope this one scores really well. It's definitely on my radar. February 11th, we have Romeo Is A Deadman. It's going to be one of the wackiest games to come out this month that a lot of people are pretty pumped up for. I think it's going to score pretty well at an 83. This is made by the same devs of like the No More Heroes games. So you can already kind of get an idea of what the gameplay is going to be. It's going to be very reminiscent of that, featuring the character of Romeo who dies and is like resurrected to be like a space FBI patrol agent or whatever, and he's trying to find his girlfriend named Juliet, naturally, and it's just going to be a really wacky type game. This is one of those games that the moment people saw who was developing it, it's just like, oh, this game's going to cook. This game's going to be great. So hopefully it scores really well. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily interested in picking it up. I've never played one of the No More Heroes games. Should I pick this up? Should I check out No More Heroes? I don't know. You tell me. It looks interesting, I'll tell you that. The concept is super interesting. The debut trailer was wild and wacky, and everyone says this game's going to cook. So I don't know. You tell me as well. Is this game going to cook, and should I pick it up? I'm calling an 83 right now, just trying to be optimistic. You tell me, though. On February 12th, we have Mario Tennis Fever, the newest introduction to the Mario Tennis and Mario sports games. I'm just going to say a 77. These games I feel like are just Let's throw a game out there, you know? Like, the Mario sports games have progressively just gotten worse over the years, where they really are just a game that just gets put out there. Hopefully this one breaks the mold and they put a lot of work into it. I have any expectations, and I'm not picking the dang thing up. I'm just going to say a 77. I think that's a little bit higher than what Aces scored. I don't know. It's a travesty what Mario sports games have become. I want baseball to come back, but I'm scared for baseball to come back because they've ruined everything else. Also on the 12th, we have Ride 6. Who gives a shit? Because you're not playing card games on motorcycles. So genuinely, who cares about this game? If I can't play my card games on motorcycles, then who gives a shit? 75, I guess. I don't know. On the 13th, we have Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Dark Ties. I'm going to say 83 on this one. Yakuza games always score really fairly well, and I'm sure this remake, remaster, whatever, is going to do the same thing. On the 13th as well, we have High on Life 2, which I feel like I'm one of the few people that actually enjoyed High on Life. I thought it was a dumb, quirky little game. It wasn't anything groundbreaking or crazy, so I'm just going to say a 75 here. The last one scored like shit. I think it was like a 60-something score. I'm not sure. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun, stupid little game. I don't know. I'll probably play this one for 10 hours and never play it again, but I mean, I'm going to have a fun 10 hours. Potentially. We'll see. I've got other things going on right now. But I'm going to say 75 here. Also on 13th, we have Reanimal, which this is by the Little Nightmares devs, specifically the OG devs of 1 and 2. And this game looks really good and really creepy. I think this one's going to score well. I'm going to say an 85 on this one. I'm excited to see what they put out and see how they cook. Overall, it looks great, and there's a lot of people that are super excited for it. On the 17th, we have Norse Oath of Blood. I'm going to say 74 on this one. It's a turn-based tactics game. You build settlements, forge alliances, that whole thing, like Viking era based stuff. I think it looks kind of cool. I just don't know if it's going to score super well. So that's why I'm going with a 74. I don't know. It's just kind of like that little middle score that I like to throw out there when I'm kind of unsure on stuff. But hopefully it does well. Because, I mean, I like tactics games. I like turn-based tactics games. That's cool. I like Norse stuff. That's cool. So hopefully it does well. I don't know, though. On the 18th, we have Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. I'm going to say an 81 on this one. I am not a Star Trek guy. Let me make that clear. I've never cared about Star Trek. I probably should, in dedication of my mom. My mom was a big Star Trek fan, but I have never been a Star Trek fan. I have no attachment to the property at all in any capacity. I actually think this game looks pretty cool. I'm gonna be completely honest. When I watched the trailer for it the other day, I actually was taken away of, not gonna lie, might play that. Probably would play that. Looks pretty cool, where it's got like the base building mechanics, basically, you know, sorting out. It's a survival type game, setting out in the different missions and stuff. It gives a lot of like Fallout Shelter vibes and things along those lines. I thought it looked pretty cool. Again, I'm not a Star Trek guy, so I got no allegiance to it, but I thought it looked fine. So I'm gonna say 81. I don't know why, but I'm gonna say 81. On the 19th, we have Styx Blades of Greed, the new entry to the Styx property that I 1000% knew was already a property before I checked out this game. I'm gonna say 73. That feels right for this one. That's because, you know, just it feels right. On the 20th, we have Wise X Proud Nordics. This is the US release. I'm gonna say 82 here. The Wise games usually tend to score pretty well. Just a nice JRPG for people to check out there. On the 27th, we have Tales of Berseria Remastered. I'm going to say 80. Everything I just said about Wise and how they tend to score pretty well is going to fall to the same category here. The Tales games tend to score pretty well. And the remasters that we've had recently also scores are about in this range. So I'm just going to continue to expect the same level of output. And lastly, on the 27th, the big dog of the month, we have Resident Evil Requiem. So I'm actually going to go pretty high on this one. I'm going to say a 95. I think Resident Evil Requiem is going to absolutely set the world on fire when it comes out. I'm super interested to see some, I guess, some elements of where the story is going to go. Because, you know, if you follow the channel at all, and if you don't, it's all good. I understand. I made a pretty bold prediction on where this story is going to go with our yearly predictions we do. And I'm just super curious right now if it's going to actually end up being correct, involving Leon and kind of how his story is going to end. So I think this game's going to potentially have some really bold choices in it. I think it's going to have a really interesting approach of where you have the side of where you're going to be scared shitless playing the game, playing as Grace, and the side where you're going to kind of take a little bit of a breather and come in and go be a badass as Leon. I'm pretty excited for this one. I've got it pre-ordered, as probably almost everyone does right now. It's definitely going to be one of the biggest and best games to come out this year, and it's going to be the first like massive high-end scoring game we've got on Metacritic for the year so far. So yeah, 95 on this one. I think it's going to score really well, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the all the celebration and praise to the game when it comes out. That's all I've got for this month. I probably missed a lot of games, I'll be honest. And if I did, just let me know. Let me know in the comments below. I'll throw some scores out there. If you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate you. If you're new here, I appreciate you. If you're a returner, I appreciate you. Make sure to also go check out Gamesthetic. We're live like every single Saturday around 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we talk about games and life and wrestling maybe, and just kind of whatever. We got some other stuff coming out here soon as well on the channel, so please keep a lookout for that, and we'd appreciate that extra support. Until next time, guys, have a good one. Bye.